This episode of Going in Raw is sponsored by Liquid IV. The Summer Olympics are nearly upon us, and hydration is important for athletes and fans. And Liquid IV offers extraordinary hydration for physical endurance, mental clarity, and overall well-being.
A single stick of Liquid IV delivers better hydration than water alone, with 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink, plus 8 vitamins and nutrients, making it the perfect summertime companion whether you're working out, chilling poolside, traveling.
So tear, pour, and live more and turn your ordinary water into extraordinary hydration with Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use code RAW at checkout. That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code RAW at liquidiv.com. Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
Hey, Larson.
Welcome back to Going in Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to. This is our Forbidden Door 2024 review. Match of the year candidates might end up being my actual match of the year, because I'm not sure anything's going to beat Swerve versus Ospreay. My God, what a terrific match we saw tonight. Altogether, I thought it was a pretty entertaining Forbidden Door. They usually are pretty damn entertaining. Yeah. A lot of fun matches. And as a pay-per-view overall, I know one of the themes, one of the narratives, one of the threads that people have been on about in terms of AEW pay-per-view lengths, number of matches, length of show, yada, yada, yada. I think this sort of proves out what we usually talk about here at the show, man, and that if the matches have a good pace going, if the match order is pretty solid and it keeps the show moving, it doesn't feel like a slog. And I thought tonight was evidence of that.
Yeah. And you compare this to Double or Nothing, which was a half hour longer because of the anarchy in the arena bout. But there was that middle section where there's 3 straight matches, 3 out of 4, that really kind of bogged the pace of the show down. And Forbidden Door didn't necessarily have that. The pace was good. The order of the match was laid out pretty solid. So there wasn't a lull at any point during the show. But let's talk about the main event, because during our watch-along stream, someone asked in chat, what do you think how do you think people are going to approach this show in terms of their opinion on it? And I thought so much of it was going to be based on what happened during the main event. Who came out the winner. And, I'd said previous, I feel like this match was going to be an indicator, hopefully, of what AEW will hope to do in the future. Are they going to pursue telling more interesting stories, or is it going to be a situation where Ospreay comes to the company, gets super popular immediately, and they just put the belt on him?
Yeah.
Whether it necessarily makes the most sense from a storyline perspective, we saw the answer to that tonight. They went with the story, the long-term story, especially as it relates to Will Ospreay, because he was in a position where he went for the Tiger Driver 91, Swerve reversed it, had a response to it, he was ready for it, and later on in the match, Don Callis makes his way to ringside and hands Will Ospreay the screwdriver that Callis has used so many times previously in AEW. And wants him to use that on Swerve. And Ospreay's hesitant up until the point where Nana gets into a physical altercation with Don Callis, and then Ospreay, he's about ready to use that screwdriver on Prince Nana. And he comes to his senses and doesn't. But we have 2 instances here where he's in a position where he could have maybe taken that step, as Swerve said, find that killer instinct. Now, obviously, hitting Nana with a screwdriver is going to lead to him getting the win, but in terms of showing if or he does not have any sort of killer instinct, that would be on full display if he had stabbed Prince Nana with a screwdriver.
Yeah, that'd be pretty extreme.
And so after Ospreay comes up short, he looks like he got beat to hell in this match. He had a welt under one of his eyes. He and Swerve are going at it. The main event was great, not just from the storytelling perspective. Also, there were some amazing sequences. We have 2 wrestlers in there who are fantastic athletes, who are crisp, fast, smooth, can chain together moves and reversals. at a rate that very few can. So just from a technical standpoint, this match was awesome. You add the layer on top of that of the story of Swerve doing what he needed to do to retain that title. Ospreay, even though he seemed like he was poised to hit that Tiger Driver, didn't. And in the instance of Screwdriver, he hesitated when Callis first gave it to him and hesitated with Nana. And you could say that ultimately did cost him the match.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think that like he's got an interesting crossroads right now because he didn't hesitate on the Tiger Driver. He thought that he just had this in his back pocket. Mm-hmm. And he'd be like, oh, man, if I use this, it's over. I've got this on lock. It's guaranteed. But now it's just, am I going to use it? Well, that incident with the Screwdriver seemed to kick him into gear. Yeah, he didn't stab a guy, but he seemed ready to go ahead and pull the trigger. And maybe the idea is that just ain't him. And it's not all about the Tiger Driver, which is kind of a cooler story, to be honest with you, because then it's not just this crutch that he's like, oh, is he going to pull it out for the big match? Is he not going to pull it out? It does sort of maintain, its sort of mythical lore within, Ospreay's story now, the Tiger Driver. But he tried it. Didn't work.
Nope, Swerve was ready for it.
Swerve was ready for it. He scouted it. He totally countered it. And then, Swerve was the guy to say, hey, and, and looking down on him, the condescending nature with which he was like, hey, you did what you could, but I'm about to kick your head off again. Because Ospreay kicked out of a lot of shit. Mm-hmm. The Swerve stomp, house call, then he got hit with the second one, and then he got hit with the driver. And that finally put him away. But like, I don't know. At this point, Ospreay's got to figure out what it's going to take, because it's not just, oh, I got to find my killer instinct. It's not that. That's what Swerve was putting on him the entire time. And I think it's going to lead to a deal with him and the Callis family in the short term. But in the long term, I mean, I like this. He's going to have to do some soul searching and really figure out what it is that fits Will Ospreay to win the big one.
Well, it's searching for his own identity within AEW. Mm-hmm. Is he going to essentially be what people tell him he needs to be? In this instance, Swerve says you got to have this killer instinct. Well, he tried it with the Tiger Driver, and maybe it's a situation. I'm interested to see what the follow-up is with this. Did Swerve put that in his head because he was ready for it? He was ready for in the event the Tiger Driver happened, and he had that reversal ready.
Every step along the way in this feud, Swerve's had the upper hand mentally.
Yeah.
And that played out in the match tonight.
Oh yeah.
I mean, dude, all the big from even Ospreay going for the move to the apron, and Swerve, I think it was the cutter to the apron.
Yeah, and Swerve.
And Swerve just gets out of the way and slams him, and forces his momentum even greater into the apron, which is great. But Swerve had something for him every step along the way, and that was in the build as well. Mentioning the kids, mentioning the wife, this, that, the other, getting underneath Ospreay's skin. So Ospreay, as awesome as the match was, and against anybody else, maybe he could have won. But yeah, I mean, he noodled him into it. He's like, oh, I'm in position now for a Tiger Driver, but guess what? I've got that scouted. That's not the end all be all. You need to prepare. You need to get in the right mental headspace in order to get this done. Mm-hmm. Just an absolutely phenomenal match. Just a really, really phenomenal match. The thing is, there were plenty of really, really good matches on the card tonight. Mm-hmm. Lots of really, really good matches. You're looking at two elite level storytellers in the ring, so to speak. And for AEW's issues right now, in terms of growing their shit, it's kind of it. There's a lot of other good stuff, but in terms of being able to tell, and will this match get that kind of buzz? I'd like to think that it would, but you got to get some really, really awesome stuff en masse with your shows in order to grow the product. But Tony Khan seems to be happy with, he was quoted during the media build to this pay-per-view as saying, "No, I'm totally happy doing what I'm doing right now. It's great." And we're in a really great position. And I honest to God hope it seems like they're getting this big TV deal coming up soon.
Seems like it, yeah.
But otherwise, man, yeah, just a lot of fantastic matches on the card tonight.
Yeah, there was a lot of good wrestling. I thought Danielson versus Shingo most definitely delivered. I didn't necessarily think it was 5-star territory, but man, what a stellar bout. Shingo's great. Danielson's great. Fantastic bout. I thought Hechicero versus MJF was good, but they really kind of shorted that one on time. It was under 10 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what to say. I mean, that match had nothing going into it. No story going into it. It wasn't even like a dream match. But CMLL really got like the short end of the stick on this entire.
I don't know. Mystico got the win for his team in the 0 hour.
There you go.
Just finding some positive there, man. Trying to find a positive.
Mystico, you think isn't Mystico's like a huge deal?
He's a massive star in CMLL.
Shouldn't he have been on the main card?
It's easy to make that case, I think.
Hey, it was announced also that AEW is going to be participating in Wrestle Dynasty.
Yeah, so we're getting Wrestle Kingdom, of course, as usual, on January 4th in Tokyo Dome. And then the day after, also in the Tokyo Dome, they're doing essentially a Forbidden Door style show at the Tokyo Dome. It's going to be New Japan, AEW, CMLL, Stardom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ring of Honor.
Yeah, Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor.
So, I mean, they're continuing on with this. Hey, everybody's
this partnership of 5 promotions.
Yeah. We got a new TNT champion as well, as we sort of figured. The Scapegoat, Jack Perry, along with his Scapegoat evil ladder, ascended and snatched that TNT title. Now everybody in the Bad Elite, in the New Elite, they all have titles, but apparently they're going to be gunning for the big one. There was a video package ran on Collision that sort of indicated Hangman Adam Page is basically hitting rock bottom, and will be coming back. He was suspended by the Elite. This is going to be one of two things. Either they're going to sort of manipulate him in the fact that he has reached rock bottom, and when you've reached rock bottom, maybe you're easily manipulated, and he will be put into that wild card scene, especially given that he's got a long history with Swerve. But maybe not. Maybe he's just going to be a lonely dude with, the paper bag drink. I don't know. But what do you think? If it's not Hangman Adam Page, who's the other wild card?
Dijak.
Wow. Could be.
That's tough because Hangman makes a ton of sense, especially with the winner of the Owen Cup going on to face Swerve at All In.
It makes sense for that reason, but in terms of, I mean, look, if it is a situation, I don't think it's out of pocket to say this guy's fucked up. Yeah. And he's desperate for a family, and the Elite could manipulate him in that respect.
Absolutely.
That's a distinct possibility.
If the Elite's goals within AEW, and I think it's if not their primary, at least one of them is to accumulate as much power as possible as AEW to run the place. And if they can manipulate Hangman, get him in the tournament, and get him wins, like actively get him wins, and help him potentially win it All In against Swerve, then you have the Elite standing tall to end the show with all of them champions.
Yeah.
At that point they'd have the only title they wouldn't have is the international title. I guess the trios titles too, but they have most of the gold.
They have a lot. Well, the AEW's got a lot of titles.
They do have a lot of titles. It's hard to have all of them unless they start expanding the ranks of the Elite.
They really should. We saw that happen with NWO. Worked great.
Oh, it worked great, didn't it? It was
all that
splendid
bloat.
idea. Splendid idea.
Love that.
Come into shows riding on garbage trucks too. Why not? Why stop there? But I guess if the idea is whoever, of course, Danielson said, "I want to win this tournament so I can be in the main event All In. I'm coming down to the end of my full-time career. This is essentially my last hurrah as a full-time wrestler is to go to Wembley and win the title." They could do that. If it's Hangman as wild card, he advances to the finals, beats Danielson, faces Swerve at All In. Swerve's beat him twice already. Would they have Hangman with the Elite behind him actively cheating to win the title there? I mean, if you want to kick the Swerve Hangman story to another level, get Swerve actively involved in what is the A story in AEW right now, which is the Elite stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way to do it, and they can feud all through the rest of the year at that juncture.
You know what would be really cool as a longer term story for Hangman? He joins the Elite. They manipulate him, but it just makes him worse.
Yeah.
And so he
still
comes
up
back.
short. Yeah.
He comes back and he's a loser.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, "Hey, you're the wild card in the Owen Cup." Loses,
Loses
either
to
to
Jeff Jarrett in
Swerve.
the first round.
Yeah, right. Like that would be silly, but loses to Danielson, and then Danielson Swerve. That's a big match.
It's pretty huge.
Danielson Swerve. I mean, I think Osprey's probably going to end up main eventing because he's Osprey and they're in England. But if the world title does main event there, then Danielson, that's and Swerve, that's your main event. I mean, those are main event level guys. Swerve beating Hangman again. I mean, I'm not against the idea of it, but Hangman being like, he's hit rock bottom and then winning the title. There's some interesting stuff you could explore there. Absolutely. Like, I needed them. They're my crutch along with Booze as champion. It's a tainted world title run. There's a lot of fun stuff you could do there. I just don't know that they're savvy enough to pull that one off. I just don't.
Yeah. I don't know either. I don't know.
And on top of that, you're sort of compromising Swerve. Like what Swerve's his big loss, that title loss is going to be to just a messed up Hangman Adam Page.
Well, it'll be to the entirety of the Elite.
Yeah, I know. Unless
I'm not advocating for it. I'm just trying to see where it's going to go because it's not Hangman. If it's the Elite picking the wild card, then who else is it?
Yeah, Dijak.
I don't think it's going to be Dijak, Steve. Will Ricochet be out of his contract expire before?
Yeah, I think it's expired. Isn't it like today?
Or is it Shane McMahon? They're going to have Shane McMahon be the wild card.
He is the best in the world. And it's where the best wrestle. So makes all the sense in the world.
That math is mathing, Steve.
It is mathing, baby. Anyways, you want to go ahead and dive into this?
Or let's pay some bills first.
Oh, let's pay some bills. Absolutely.
Let's take a break here to get a word from our sponsor, Liquid IV. The Summer Olympics are nearly in full swing, and while you and I, Steve, we're long shots to make this year's Team USA basketball squad, wouldn't you agree?
We'll talk about that later.
All right. Hydration is still important for us when we play hoops twice a week.
That's correct, Larson. And Liquid IV provides us with superior hydration when we're out there on the basketball court. A single stick of Liquid IV delivers better hydration than water alone, with 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink, plus 8 vitamins and nutrients. And while Liquid IV is awesome for our one-on-one contests, it's also great for mental clarity and overall well-being.
Yeah, and I just got back from camping this weekend, made sure to grab a bunch of Liquid IV with me to drink while I was out in the sun, chilling by the lake so I didn't get dehydrated. One of the first things I did when I got back home today was drink some sugar-free lemon-lime Liquid IV to help me recover and stay sharp for today's show. But Liquid IV is also the ideal companion whether you're out on the golf course, traveling, or before, during, or after your workouts.
So tear, pour, and live more with America's #1 powdered hydration brand and turn your ordinary water into extraordinary hydration with Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use code RAW at checkout. That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code RAW at liquidiv.com. I am impressed, Larson, because I thought for sure, when you got back from this camping, and this is not glamping, this is camping. This guy was in a tent, a steamy 6-man with his family, and you came back. I thought you were going to be miserable. But dude, Liquid IV apparently. Liquid IV. I can explain it. Liquid IV.
Liquid IV.
I think we got to. It cracked me up because you're like twice a week playing basketball. We got to up it to like at least 4 times a week if we're going to make that U.S. squad.
Why not daily?
You, me, Thanasis.
If we're going to dedicate our energies to improving ourselves as basketball players, it's got to be a #1 priority, Steve.
Is the NASA? Did he make Team USA?
No.
Can we get that to happen? I don't really want to be on that team unless there's somebody that I'm better than.
Oh.
I mean, besides you, of course.
Ooh. See, I thought you'd be happy. I wasn't talking about windmill dunking on you or anything in here.
I'm going to talk about that game last week.
I was talking about that 3-point contest last week. How about that?
I was winded. I thought I was going to score anything. Oh man. Anyways. So yeah.
Let's talk about Forbidden Door. We didn't watch the kickoff show 0 hour, so we're talking about the main card exclusively here on this review.
Look, man, if people want to complain about the length of AEW pay-per-views, I got an idea for you. Just don't watch the kickoff.
Just don't watch the kickoff show. Cut at least an hour off your viewing experience.
Is it only an hour or is it 2?
No, it's longer. I'm just saying I think most of the matches are in the last hour of the kickoff. I think
okay.
it's the panels and
All
stuff.
right. MJF got his match out of the way quickly.
Yeah.
Against Hechicero. So that happened. I mean, it did. It was like, it was not like...
It was
a
fine.
good match. It was a good match.
I mean, the highlight of it was probably when MJF hit Panama Sunrise. If the Adam Cole moves, so maybe they're not moving away from that feud somewhere down the line whenever Adam Cole is cleared. But yeah, after that, it looks like MJF is starting to use the Brain Buster. It's the second match he's won since his return with a Brain Buster, so that seems to be his finish. Maybe he's gotten rid of Heat Seeker, maybe, as a finisher. But I kind of like in AEW. We have, wrestlers like Swerve, like Ospreay, now MJF, and WWE even, Gunther.
Yeah, Gunther does that.
Who could use a variety of moves, potentially win matches. It kind of lessens the somewhat predictable nature of matches when
not
they hit what they think is their finisher is a kick out. They got something else in their back pocket they can use to win.
Not everybody's got to do the Stone Cold with the stunner or the RKO. Not everybody's got to do that. It's like, what am I going to come at you with?
Exactly.
Brain Buster.
A Brain Buster. Yeah. This was a fine match. Hechicero's tons of fun to watch.
Yeah, he's cool.
They're just, this was made quickly. The match was. There wasn't a ton of story behind it, and they gave it less than 10 minutes. And they did the best they could with it, but just ain't a ton to work with from a creative standpoint. So.
Well, yeah, and also there's nothing going into this. Like MJF literally was like, "Oh, by the way, I got Hechicero at Forbidden Door. Oh, Daniel Garcia, Will Ospreay, everything else I'm going to focus on. But by the way, I've got this match at Forbidden Door."
Yeah. After that, we have the Elite, Young Bucks, Kazuchika Okada, taking on the Acclaimed and Go Ace, Hiroshi Tanahashi, Scissor Ace.
Scissor Ace.
So you had thought going into this, possibility the Acclaimed would win all the matches except the tag title match.
Yeah, right. That's why I'm not Big Blue Predictions champion right now.
But I see the point. I don't think it's a terrible point at all. I think it's a pretty valid point where the Acclaim win all the matches that quote unquote don't matter, which the championship matches are the ones that matter most,
Right.
And it just didn't turn out that way. I like you said when Caster was doing his rap, you're like, oh, he's going on a long time. They ain't winning this match.
Yeah, he was riffing on Okada saying bitch, and so he just kept on calling him bitch. It went on a really long time. He just kept on calling him variations of the word bitch. And when I saw that and I saw Okada's face, it was like, oh, this is Caster's win tonight. They're not winning the match. But I figured there's another Jackson. He could eat the pin on, this match. And then when they do the title match, the Young Bucks would, of course, win because they're not losing those titles anytime soon. And I don't think this loss with the Acclaimed, maybe they'll do the thing because I don't know. Do we know when the match is actually is it going to be Beach Break?
No, the last week on Dynamite, Bowen said they haven't decided when they're going to issue the challenge. I would guess it'd be all in. It'd be all in.
Okay. Maybe they'll do a thing where they'll do some solo matches first to keep the heat built for this, thing, and they can trade off some of those perhaps. The Eliminator was won by the Acclaimed. This one was won by the Elite. Then they can switch off. Caster can get a win over Matt. Nick can get a win over Bowens or something like that, or vice versa. And then head into All In.
Okada can beat Billy Gunn.
After Billy Gunn beats him, from one end to the other. But yeah, I mean, this match was fine. It was more just like sort of you said during the stream, and I think this is sort of apropos. Kind of felt like a house show match, in that there were shenanigans. There was like
There
some
was a
goofing
looseness
around.
to it.
Yeah, right.
There
Yeah.
was a looseness. You could tell the participants in match were having fun. In
Yeah.
the match, were having fun. And so much of this match, yes, that obviously the Acclaimed and Young Bucks feud is primary in terms of what's going on in AEW now, but a lot of this match was dedicated to the years-long feud between Okada and Tanahashi, and that's what was most relevant. The finish, not so much, because a lot of points in the finish, the Young Bucks were just like, all right, super kicks to the Acclaimed to keep him out of the ring, so we could isolate Tanahashi.
Yeah.
That's
right,
kind of how
yeah.
the end of the match went.
Yeah, and they're essentially kind of avoiding the Acclaimed, which I
Yeah.
guess is the story here, because the Acclaimed didn't get pinned. Tanahashi got pinned with the
Yes.
Rainmaker.
So the finish saw Tanahashi send Matt in the Nick and hits a dragon screw leg whip on Nick. Okada then hits Tanahashi with a drop kick, Rainmaker to get the win. But there's this whole sequence where Okada's hitting Tanahashi with stuff, and the Acclaim would try to get involved, and the Young Bucks would just super kick him or send him out of the ring or hit him with planches and stuff. So
Yeah. Landon Gossett here with the super chat says, "Who do you guys think should win the Owen? I know everyone wants Danielson or Hangman to win, but I think that's ridiculous. I think it's Jeff Jarrett's time to win. He deserves it. It's his time to win. No one will pop bigger for Jeff Jarrett's win in the Owen than you and me. I think. I don't think that he will. I probably don't even think he should, but I would love to see it.
but it'd be an interesting development in the world of AEW if Jeff Jarrett wins the Owen Cup.
It would be pretty amazing.
It would be pretty great. It would be pretty great. After the Elite get the win, we got Shingo Takagi taking on Bryan Danielson, first round action of the Owen Cup. Just fantastic stuff early on. Shingo hits Danielson with a brainbuster on the floor. And Danielson's got his neck all taped up with the kinesio tape, and he got the cupping thing done on his back, so he's got the bruises or whatever is the blood that raises up to the skin from that, and he's selling it like he actually hurt his neck because he's Bryan Danielson and he's great. And it's Danielson for a lot of stretches fighting from underneath. He's got bad neck. Shingo's incredible. So towards the finish, Danielson looks for a label lock. Shingo avoids that. They're trading headbutts and elbows. Danielson hits a regal plex, sets up for the knee plus, hits it. Shingo kicks out. And so Danielson says it's time to kick his head in. So he's looking for the stomps, hits some stomps, transitions to a triangle, and he starts laying in elbows, but Shingo powers up. But Danielson hits him with an elbow, keeps on elbowing, and then locks on a nasty-looking Fujiwara armbar. He was really torquing that arm back.
Yeah.
And Shingo gives up.
Yeah. There are some cool submission wins in this on this pay-per-view here.
Yeah.
That Zack Sabre Jr.
I don't know how to describe that.
Might be submission of the year right there.
It was
man.
like
That
a
was
Texas
amazing.
Cloverleaf Rings of Saturn hybrid type deal he was doing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that was great. So Brian really shows some respect to Shingo, points at him, says, "You're the guy, but I just beat you."
He points at him, but he's doing it from the corner like he's about to hit him with a knee plus.
I really should have. Let's see here. So after that, we had Tony Storm versus Mina Shirakawa. Excellent match here.
Yeah, this was really good.
Yeah, this was really cool, man. I like that they gave the women's matches plenty of time.
They did. So Mariah May, of course, ringside. She has 2 bouquets of flowers. Gives one to Mina, one to Tony before the match starts. And the only thing I found kind of surprising in this match, based on how they set things up, especially with the segment on Dynamite, where Mariah gets the champagne bottle busted over her head, that Mariah didn't really factor into the decision whatsoever. She didn't interfere. She didn't help anybody. She didn't cost anybody. In fact, instead of creating a larger divide between Tony and Mina, it seems like, at least short term, it's like everything's all patched up.
Because it's a romantic comedy, Larson. That's
It is.
why. And in the end, everybody just sort of gets together, I guess. Usually rom-coms end with like a wedding or some shit, and this
Yeah.
came close to this, I guess. So yeah, I'm kind of happy about that because like you got two terrific wrestlers in there, just wrestle, and then you can leave the silliness for the end, because that's what it really is. Like you're putting somebody's at your bosom. It's like, oh, this is my whatever, and and it's just sort of foolishness. And I'm glad that they didn't gimmick it up with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so Tony Storm ends up getting the win. Number one, Tony Storm's got some of my favorite German suplexes.
Oh yeah.
Like the fact that it's used this torque. It's like she gets him up there and just slams him back.
Quick.
It's quick. It's snappy.
Explosive. Sudden.
There you go. Sudden impact. So anyways, Tony Storm hits a bunch of headbutts, German suplex, hits Storm Zero, gets the win. And then afterwards, so Tony and Mariah are sharing a moment. Tony helps Mina up. She extends her hand, and they shake on it. And Mariah's like, good, but more. Do more. You guys need to do more. Starts doing, do more. and so they go in for like the ugliest hug I've ever seen. Their faces look horrified to be hugging each other. And then Mariah's like, no, it's not enough. We're going to do like a 3-way kiss. And their faces get even uglier trying to do this kiss. It really was a great moment of comedy.
It was.
That punctuated this story. And then there was like some digital exclusive thing where they're all like walking hand in hand basically backstage. And so yeah, it was basically a comedy movie they're telling, and they saw that through.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. After that, we had Orange Cassidy taking on Zack Sabre Jr. We alluded to the move that Zack Sabre Jr. used to ultimately win this match.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And could best be described as, I guess, a cloverleaf.
Human pretzel.
Rings of Saturn type deal. But we've said this several times. We've seen him do it live in person.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And I always love to see it. And I thought the camera direction got this pretty good tonight, where he's got someone in a move, and you can see that person, in this case Orange Cassidy, try to escape or get to the ropes. And you see Zack Sabre Jr.'s process.
Yeah.
Like he performs the process of him thinking, all right, this is happening. I need to do this to avoid him breaking the hold or reversing it. It's not just automatic. You see him think about it.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, because he's like, oh, that leg's moving right there. All right, I'm going to put it over here now. And then, oh, wait a second. What's his hand moving for a rope? This will go over here. Yeah, it's amazing.
And he'll twist him in a pretzel, and it's fantastic.
I want to see him get like a Stretch Armstrong doll and then be like, this is what I'm going to do to you, bullocks.
Yeah.
And it's like he does it.
And you're like, how does he do that? And he does it to Orange Cassidy. Credit to Orange Cassidy. He was working Zack Sabre Jr.'s knee over, hitting a bunch of dragon screws.
Well, there was a moment of sort of arrogance, I guess, during this promo on Collision where, Zack Sabre Jr. is like, because Orange Cassidy and Tomohiro Ishii had beat TMDK. And Zack Sabre Jr. afterwards interrupted an interview with Orange Cassidy. And he was like, I've always had something for you when we meet in the ring. I always know what you're going to do. And I've waited a year to finally get this done. And then Orange Cassidy says, yeah, you've waited a year to get pinned by me with my hands in my pockets. And he tried that tonight. And that's just pure arrogance on his part. And I wonder if there is something. I mean, obviously, we saw a bit of a shift after the Trent stuff where he's wearing, darker colored denim. And it seems to be kind of his story now that things aren't smooth up here,
Yeah, he went back to the Pixies theme, Where Is My Mind, away from Jane. Yeah, he's, we're critical of AEW's creative, and they get a lot of flack online for not telling stories. A lot of the stories, and I actually give AEW credit, because a lot of the stories they tell are subtle. They're far more subtle. But here's the thing, sometimes doing things almost exclusively subtly, you miss the impactful moments.
Yeah.
That you need sometimes. Like, I appreciate a lot of what Orange Cassidy has done along his whole journey in AEW. There's so much of the stuff he did when he was international champion that was storytelling on a very subtle level. I can appreciate that. I like it. A lot of the story being told in the ring, I really do enjoy it. Something to be said about having those moments, those impactful moments that leave you guessing, oh, what's going to happen next? kind of seems what AEW is missing. And if that's not the approach Tony Khan wants to take to his creative process, so be it. I can enjoy what AEW does right on its own terms. I'll try my best.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to just say, all right, well, this is his process. It's great, because not everything's working, even adhering to that own process. But yeah, it'd be great to have those huge moments every now and again.
Yeah,
That leads you to want to tune in next week.
Well, that's the thing. It works fine when you're basically doing 8 pay-per-views a year. Like the pay-per-views, by and large, AEW gets their pay-per-views pretty well. Like that last one was kind of an aberration. They just blocked a bunch of matches that sort of didn't flow into each other. Some of them really, like the builds were just nothing. I mean,
some of them are really probably should have been on the pay-per-view.
You put MJF on the card. Okay, cool. He's MJF. Of course,
it's in Long Island. You got to have MJF on the show.
Right, exactly. Put him in there with Hechicero. I guess there's going to be a lot of people, or some people who are like, "Oh wow, dream match," but like, there's no build to it whatsoever. But yeah, it leaves their weekly television kind of lacking, because it's like there is a lot of filler. There's a lot of stuff where you just don't get even the subtleties. Like. It's redundancies, and then the big moments play out on pay-per-view, I guess.
Yeah.
And they're not even, those big weekly television impactful moments, they're just not there. Mm-mm. But, if that's what they want to do, then that's what they're doing, and I guess they have that audience to a degree, but I just don't know how sustainable it is.
It's a situation where you can watch weekly AEW television and admire the quality of the wrestling, which is great. You can admire the subtlety, but get the overall idea what the story is about. For a lot of this stuff, you don't actually have to watch Dynamite or Collision. We only watch 2 of AEW's 5 hours of programming every week, and for the most part, I don't feel like we miss much.
And that's kind of the sustainability issue. Look, we're not in the TV business, Larson, but like, you got to figure if you're trying to promote your pay-per-views, you do that through your weekly television. It drives people to go tune in and plunk down $50, which is a lot to ask. And who knows, maybe that'll go down once they land on Max, if that's going to be the situation. I don't know. But I don't know. I guess that's Tony Khan's business, not our business. So we're just here to critique the product.
Yep. Seemingly he's on the precipice of getting a pretty huge TV deal, so.
And I hope he does. I really hope he does. I hope he does.
Same.
Before we continue really quick, Avery Wash said, how's the leaderboard? We have a winner.
We do.
Our winner of the Big Blue Predictions Challenge, and winner of this hat right here, the Big Blue Predictions Challenge hat. One's going to go out to Master Kira, and one's going to go out to Jay Smooth, who is our new Big Blue Predictions champion. Congratulations, Jay Smooth.
1 point. 1 point win.
Yeah, that's crazy.
The Mamba God and White Brownie.
Okay.
The leaderboard, especially going into the last 2 matches, it was pretty tightly packed. So
it was, that's crazy.
Pretty much things went Jay Smooth's way, and we got new Big Blue champion, so congratulations.
Congratulations. After that, we had the Learning Tree and Jeff Cobb versus Hook, Samoa Joe, and Shibata. Yeah.
What'd you think of? Give me a grade for Hook's Judas effect, Steve.
Oh wow, good question. C+. A C+.
Yeah, the setup was a little wonky. Delivery, the back elbow was fine. It was a setup.
Credit to Jericho. It's not the smoothest. He makes it look smoother than I think most people would be able to.
Andrade makes the back elbow look smooth.
Oh no, Andrade is an A+. Andrade has the best Judas effect.
Yeah,
that shit is awesome.
Yeah, it is.
But Jericho, I mean, I think that the trick with Jericho is don't really need to worry about where the elbow is. You just sort of do a spin thing into a person and happen to have your elbow up, and they'll sell it. Hook was trying to actually make it make sense, and sometimes in wrestling you don't need to.
No, because he got a little bit of a running start.
He did, and he put the elbow way out like this.
Yeah,
and it's just it's a weird coordination there.
It is, and if you're not used to doing it. So yeah, Hook hits Jericho with the Judas effect to get the win. And you got to assume whether it be at Beach Break or some point in the near future, maybe they'll wait till All In. That seems like an awfully long time to wait for an FTW title match.
Yeah,
Hook's going to get another crack at that FTW title and probably get it back from Jericho, you would think.
you got to think something's got to happen at Beach Break. They're going to have a bunch of the Owen there, I guess.
Yeah.
And then let's see here. After that, oh man, oh boy, this was tons of goddamn fun. TNT Championship ladder match. Jack Perry, Konosuke Takeshita, El Phantasmo, Mark Briscoe, Dante Martin, and Leo Rush. And I love that everybody got their spot here. Everybody got cool moments here. We got a little bit of Dante Martin and Leo Rush going at it. That was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dude, this was an absolute blast. I mean, for not coming away with the title, and this is sort of typical of his AEW run, Takeshita looked damn good here. He was sort of like the alpha here.
That blue thunder bomb through the tables.
Oh, I don't know. And dude, whoever gimmicked that table, assuming they did, because they always do a little bit, that thing exploded beautifully.
Yeah.
There were shards everywhere. It looked amazing. They did a great job with that. But yeah, Takeshita hit LP with a blue thunder bomb from the apron onto two tables there on the floor. And it was absolutely amazing. It was really terrific stuff.
It was. Earlier on, Jack Perry took a splash off the top rope to the floor from Mark Briscoe, and he was out of the match for a little bit. Table didn't break. And then eventually, he comes back in the ring and blasts Mark with a ladder, lays him out, climbs the ladder, grabs the TNT title as expected.
Mm-hmm.
He is TNT champion. Not as prestigious a prize as a Real World Championship, perhaps, but a quality title nonetheless.
Right there. It's the one.
I guess that makes you officially the Real World Championship.
I like to consider myself the Real World Championship of internet podcasting wrestling.
I don't see anybody disputing that claim.
Nor should they. Oh, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, the scapegoat with that awesome mask of his. The Baphomet mask.
Yeah, the Baphomet mask. Yeah. He's going to take that TNT title into the scapegoat mobile.
Yeah, man.
Drive to the next town.
Dead mall to dead mall. Man, oh, man. Sunrise just keeps getting more and more.
It's the wasteland there, man.
Rigor mortis has set in.
Yeah.
Deep.
It's just spreading from the south end of the mall and working its way up to the north.
Yeah, man. Oh, dude. It's getting worse.
It is.
Vans.
It is.
Vans is done. No Vans in there. Yeah.
The only shoe store that's still there is Shoe Palace now.
No.
There's the famous footwear
famous
right
footwear
next door. Yeah,
still
but I
around,
meant of like the Foot Locker Champs.
Oh yeah.
Places, yeah.
Shoe Palace might be done with.
Oh no, I was just there like 2 weeks ago and it's still there.
Is Shoe Palace the one with the arc, the big silver? Yeah, they're done. They're gone. Yeah.
Wow.
As of 2 days ago.
Wow.
Because I was there.
Things move fast.
They do. Jay Smooth, member for 10 months now, re-upped his membership. Thank God he'll get to defend his Big Blue Championship. But on the road there, we got Money in the Bank. That's for Money in the Bank. Larson's
we're going to do Money in the Bank, and we're going to do Heat Wave the next night, too. We're going to do back
Heat Wave. That's all going to be for the Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
Big Blue's not going to be on the line for that.
No, that's advantage only. Yeah, and then
but a cash-in opportunity. And right now, in terms of cash-ins, nobody's actually cashed in successfully yet. So it's like the opposite of Money in the Bank in WWE, where at first it started off with a really strong cash-in rate. We start out,
just crap. Awful.
Yeah. I really should have warned you off that one when you had the
Whataburger experience.
The Whataburger experience.
It wasn't so much the case you're making at the time. It was like a week prior. You're like, oh, we've had these cash-ins and no one's done anything with them.
Oh wow.
It was that. And I was like, fine, I'll just do it then.
Yeah, I mean, you're in range.
I was with range. I could have done it.
Well, today, how far away were you?
Let me check. 6, so I could have done it today.
All right. You had a good chance. Jay Smooth says, I won. Big Blue Champ, thanks, friendos. Yeah, Jay Smooth, I don't know if you're on the Patreon or if you're on the YouTube channel memberships. Can you let us know and reach out to us either on our Twitter or whatever? Like, you should know how to get to us. And if you can't, let us know in the YouTube chat and we'll figure it out. But yeah, if you guys want in on the Big Predictions Challenge to get a cash-in opportunity, Money in the Bank. We're going to do a little bit different. I think this year we're going to incorporate some sort of guaranteed, super astronomically low.
Well, not super astronomically low. It's not going to be like 1 in a million because we're not going to put a million pieces of paper in that briefcase.
I was looking forward to finding a million pieces of paper, Larson. But yeah, we're going to have a guaranteed win in the briefcase this year, along with a lot of other non-guaranteed wins, just points. So yeah, if you want in on the next big predictions challenge, then be sure to become a channel member or a patron. Get the Friendo Club set up. You can get that right now. Click join on the YouTube. It's $5 a month, or go to patreon.com/Stephen Larson. Click on the Friendo Club setup. You also got access to our backlog of bonus episodes. Larson and I are going to be talking this week about what to do next with our bonus slate of stuff. We got an idea that I think could work pretty well for you guys, and I think you guys would enjoy it. We did a whole bunch of FriendoCast bonus episodes. Those are still available. They will continue to be available. And we'll pick those back up probably next year, but I kind of want to do something different, for the Friendos. And so we're going to do something different for that. And then you also get access to the question threads that we do here on the show. Up next, we had Mercedes Moné versus Stephanie Vaquer. Winner takes all, TBS Championship and New Japan Strong Championship. I this was kind of a foregone conclusion here. Mm-hmm. That said, my God, Stephanie Vaquer is really something else.
Yeah.
The look, the presence, the charisma. Don't even have to give a promo. She has got a presence about her, and this match was fucking awesome.
It was fantastic. Yeah. As a star, I know she's wrestled on New Japan programming, obviously, in CMLL.
Tons of places, yeah.
Yeah, she's wrestled all over. Star-making performance for her here in AEW.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Just, you're right, presentation, everything. All across the board. It's just phenomenal. She's a phenomenal wrestler. And yeah, it's a bit unfortunate that the outcome of this match was basically a sure thing that Mercedes was going to win. Because if there's a bit more drama in terms of who was going to win, I thought the match would have been even that much better.
Mm-hmm.
It was already pretty darn good.
Yeah.
Especially like the first half, 2/3 of it were really, really, really good. And it got to the point where, like, all right, seems like they're trying to find a creative way for Mercedes to hit the moneymaker to get the win. Eventually happened. But she didn't win with the moneymaker. She hit it, and then, I don't know what she's calling it now, but the bank statement, and Stephanie tapped.
Yeah. Yeah. If there's one thing about Mercedes these days, and since she's come to AEW, really since she left WWE, it seems like the moneymaker is one of those moves where you can start to understand that, like, there needs to be sometimes a bit of a convoluted setup for it. And I don't know that it's like the strongest. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think there needs to be a convoluted setup.
She tries to, though.
She tries to find, and I appreciate this. She tries to find a creative, interesting way to get into it. So it's not just, all right, it's the same setup for like a gory bomb.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than just drop them back, it's kind of flips them over so they land next to her.
Never been a fan of that either, to be honest.
What, the gory bomb?
Yeah.
Oh, a good gory bomb. I like
it's cool, but it's like, how does somebody naturally end up in that position? It's sort of silly. Let me back up into you. Get your arms.
I don't know. It's pro wrestling.
Like
people naturally find themselves in a lot of these positions, Steve.
You don't have to naturally find anything in RKO. You just wander around and get hit.
No, but there's a lot of moves you just have to. Anyways, I think that's the issue. It's not so much that it requires an elaborate setup. I think she just wants to find interesting, creative ways to try to get into the setup for the move. And I appreciate that.
I can appreciate it, but it kind of makes things clunky sometimes.
It can. I mean, so far during her AEW tenure, I think the way she's transitioned into the moneymaker have been pretty solid. This is the first time where it seemed like, all right, get everything set up. You could see how the setup was going to be done and stuff like that, as opposed to like an organic thing. But yeah, still a really good match. It was good stuff.
I love this match. I thought it was awesome. Yeah, Stephanie Vaquer is something else, man.
Yeah, she is.
So Mercedes Moné gets the win here. You mentioned how she got the job done. And then while she was celebrating, Britt Baker came back to a thunderous applause. And she comes out, bunch of pyro, walks down the ramp a little bit, and then whoop, and it goes right back. So
Yeah.
she looks like she's going to be the next one to be challenged. You'd think that's Britt Baker versus Mercedes Moné is going to be the Wembley match, right?
The all-in match. Yeah, you think so.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You think so. Yeah. Yeah, certainly. Certainly. Definitely isn't going to happen next week on Beach Break, though, Steve. You'll get a lot of Owen Cup action, which would be great matches.
Yeah, those would be some really good matches. Absolutely.
Really good matches. All right, let's talk about Tetsuya Naito versus Jon Moxley.
You know what, man? I like these guys so much. I'm willing to forgive how fucking half-speed clunky this shit was.
This was not either of these competitors' finest moment in the wrestling ring.
No, it really wasn't. Hey, but you know what? Shout out to Evil. We don't really pay too close attention to like we follow New Japan, but we don't watch New Japan.
Yeah.
Evil spray painted the apparently the New Japan title, the IWGP title. That thing looks like $1 million now. Who'd have thought?
It's got a patina on it.
Yeah, yeah. It looks like Lacey took it to the garage and antiqued it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it looks like $1 million. Moxley ended up losing this to Tetsuya Naito in the big rematch here, so Naito can take this back to New Japan. And Mox is both going to be in the G1 though.
Are they?
I think Mox isn't he?
No.
Is he not?
Naito was announced, and he said if he lost to Mox, the Mox would take his spot in the G1.
Ah, okay. There you go.
And there's like a play-in tournament to get the last spots. Mox ain't in it.
Oh, okay. Okay, my bad. For some reason in my head I have that stupid, like the graphic, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So Naito wins, as expected. There was this weird spot where Mox hits Naito with a Death Rider, and Naito kicks out, and then Mox gets mad at Red Shoes, and he goes and grabs a chair and sets it up in the ring, and is looking for a Death Rider on it. And as he lifts up Naito, Red Shoes just, like if we pull the prank on somebody, they're about to sit down, you move the chair out from under them so they land on their butt on the ground. He kind of did that, but Mox is like, "Oh, you moved the chair, so he just didn't hit the Death Rider. If he just hit the Death Rider, then he would have won, whether it was on the chair or not."
Mox getting so bent out of shape.
It was like uncharacteristic for Mox.
It was. He was doing more dicking. This was like House of Torture. This was like close to House of Torture levels of like, what are you doing right now? Why just go and do the match, dude?
I know. Beyond the kind of clunkiness of some aspects of this match is like that story beat was like.
Speaking of clunky finisher moves, does Naito need to find a new one?
Oh, at this point he can't.
Come on, man. How about he just give us a solid DDT? A solid DDT.
Here's the thing. He never wins with one Destino anymore. I understand the setup.
That makes it worse.
The setup for it requires like the person taking it to do so much effort, do so much work.
Remember that time Jericho and him were like, "Wait, what do I do?"
Yeah, it's not. Doesn't seem like the most intuitive move to take.
No,
I mean, all you gotta do is just essentially take a back bump. I get it, but like the setup to it, it's like
the setup is everything. Yeah. Scorpion Death Drop.
No, I mean, it's like
same thing. It's the same impact.
You see Naito do the arm ringer, and
it's so difficult. It's so hard to watch that. It's so like long, and it's like it's like half speed Destino. He used to be so smooth. He's older now.
Yeah, he's taking a lot of wear and tear too. So it's to be expected. And then after Naito gets the win, we got our main event, Ospreay making his way to the ring, the Hayabusa mask and inspired gear.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jim Jones introducing Swerve for his entrance. And they did a good job, Ospreay and Swerve did, of really milking the moment when they get in the ring together, letting the crowd soak in what's about to happen.
Felt big.
It did. It felt like a huge fight. And that's something AEW is kind of inconsistent with it as well, is having their main event matches or even high profile matches feel huge.
Yes. Yeah.
And hats off to Swerve and Ospreay for understanding we got to make a moment of just the opening bell ringing, because the expectations from a purely wrestling perspective for this match were high. You got two of the best in the world in the ring. You know what you're going to get athletically. Technically, something really, really good. As I mentioned earlier, you get the really good story on top of all that. You get a match of the year contender here.
You do. Where do you rate this? Be above or below Danielson Ospreay?
The story of this one is so much more. That was who's better. It's Danielson to a degree, trying to prove that he could still be in that conversation of best in the world. And as Ospreay just proven, well, I beat who any considered the best wrestler in the world, therefore I am. And not to say that's not an effective story. It was, because the match was good. This one, the layers to it, the depth, the characters, there's more going on. It's more interesting.
Yeah.
It's not just Ospreay trying to prove he's best in the world. This is Ospreay trying to figure out who he is in AEW.
Yeah.
And there's just so much more interesting stuff there to work with. And he's done, we say a lot about how Ospreay has really handled comported himself on the mic in AEW. He's an excellent promo.
Yeah.
But he's done just as good, maybe even better, in terms of adapting what he does to AEW's approach to televised in-ring storytelling.
Absolutely.
Because he knows how to milk those moments when he needs to. And Swerve we've seen him Swerve do that consistently.
This is the first time since Hangman, because Hangman and Swerve really had something special.
Oh yeah, gosh, that death match when Swerve was pulling the staples out of his chest and stapling himself in it. Gosh, that's the kind of stuff that you remember. Those are moments,
And this is on par with that. This is his feud with Ospreay. They'll probably, go separate ways and then come back around to it. This is, man, that chemistry right there. That chemistry between these two guys. And I think that's what Tony Khan is looking at for the future. Like the new signings that they've had, how they match up with people there. What are the rivalries that'll really be the ones that are talked about and remembered? Yeah, I put this right now. Probably I'll think about it some more, but right now is my match of the year. This is above Ospreay Danielson. I think that you're right. There's so many more layers to this.
Yeah. Danielson Okada from Wrestle Kingdom at being in the year was really, really good too.
Yeah, it was really good. Wrestle Kingdom always starts off the year with like, oh,
I know,
match
sets a high bar.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked about this quite a bit at the head of the show, obviously. So we'll get down to the finishing sequence. So Ospreay hits an Os Cutter. Falls. He kind of teases Tiger Driver because the setup for the Stormbreaker is the same. Hits the Stormbreaker though. Swerve kicks out. They show MJF watching backstage. Earlier they showed, kind of clumsily, from a production perspective, Daniel Garcia watching this match from one of the luxury suites. So Ospreay locks his arms, teasing Tiger Driver. Swerve blocks, hits a headbutt. Will hits the headbutt, and then Will yells out Tiger Driver. He goes for it, and Swerve reverses into like a hip toss. It was so smooth. It
was.
And then hits Ospreay with a hidden blade. He heads up top, looks for the stomp, misses, and then Ospreay's looking for a hidden blade. Swerve evades it, so the ref, Paul Turner, I believe, eats the hidden blade. So Swerve hits a poison Rana. And then Will follows with the desperation hidden blade. That's when Don Callis comes down to ringside, and he stirs Will, hands him the screwdriver. And Prince Nana shoves Callis, and that's when Ospreay goes to the floor and is holding the screwdriver like he's about to stab Nana with it. And eventually he's like, no, I'm not going to do it. He throws the screwdriver away, gets in the ring. Swerve hits him instantly with the house call, goes up, stops, hits up top, hits the stomp. Ospreay kicks out. Swerve snaps Ospreay's arm. Hits a house call. Will kicks out again. So Swerve is like, he's obviously upset, but he collects himself pretty quick because he especially sees the condition Ospreay's in, where he's stumbling around the ring, can barely stay on his feet. And Ospreay makes like the most, you described it as pathetic, and I think this is accurate, attempt at a hidden blade. And Swerve catches him, not just alone to kind of counter the move, but to hold Ospreay up.
Yeah.
And he pats him on the back of the head and then puts him back on the ground, hits another house call, a JML driver to get the win.
Yeah. So good try. Good try.
You tried.
Yeah. A couple super chats here from Spectre. Says, what a fantastic main event. Better than Ospreay Danielson. Great show tonight. DMD versus Mercedes is going to be fantastic. Also says, Mina should have won. Can tell the same story at All In without breaking up Tony and Mariah May. May looks like she's going heel. Yeah, I thought they might tease something like that. I thought they could have had Mariah May turn on Tony Storm tonight, but again, it was a comedy.
Yeah.
Comedies don't end in tragedy.
Nope. One thing to mention is after the main event, Ospreay kneels down next to Ospreay and says something to him we don't know what. But Kyle Fletcher like instantly teleports to the ringside area. Maybe he came down when Callis came as well. They just didn't show him. And he goes over and talks to Will. And Will says, "Oh, it was this close."
Yeah.
But I doubt having Kyle Fletcher down ringside is accidental. I don't know how he's going to play into, given his long running friendship with Ospreay, how he's going to play into whatever's going to happen with the Callis family and Will going forward. You know, essentially, whose side is he going to take if there's a beef that arises from all this?
Who else is in the? It's Takeshita is in it. Who else is in it?
Hobbs, but Hobbs is out hurt.
Yeah, Hobbs is out.
Sammy Guevara is not in the Callis family anymore.
Sammy Guevara. No, he's not. Oh, man. Anyway, so yeah, that's going to do it for our AEW Forbidden Door 2024 review. By the way, real quick, I probably should have mentioned this towards the jump, but for anybody out there who is like seeing this logo hat that I had, this Friendo Club logo hat, they are now officially available over at friendoshop.com. Here is a little ad. We got a hat with like the white back here. We got one where it's black back here. We have a coffee mug. We got a t-shirt and we got a hoodie, all with that logo on it. So hopefully you guys that have been watching me sport this
for the last 6 months.
Yeah.
Asking, how can we get this? Now you can.
You can't have these, and now you can have this. So, yeah, it's over at friendoshop.com. And you can still use the promo code Friendo2024. Make sure to do that. Use promo code Friendo2024 to get your discount off it. And yeah, so you can get the new the logo thing that I have here.
There you go.
So it's been a while. So that's going to do it. That's going to do it for the show today. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it. Till next time, we'll see you guys around.
Goodbye.